We've got a lovely bit of sunshine here at the moment, but winter is right around the corner. And with that, unfortunately, comes higher winter heating bills. So more and more people are taking the plunge and investing in a log burner. So I thought, what better for the next project than to show you how to make your very own log store. I'm going to start by making the two outer frames for the log store first, and that'll begin by cutting the upright pieces. I'm going to start with the back piece, that's the longest, and that measures 150 centimetres long. Now I'm using 38mm square wood for this, and this is actually treated, so it's going to be ideal for outside. And I'm just going to use the handsaw to cut it to length. Next, I'm going to cut the front piece, but this one only measures 120 centimetres. This will enable us to have a bit of a pitch to the roof, that way the water will run off nice and easily. So I've got the back piece cut, and I've got the front piece cut. Now I want these to sit apart by about 60 centimetres, so I need to cut a piece to go in between. I'm actually going to be having three pieces. I'm going to be having one right towards the bottom, one in the middle, and one at the top compared to the front piece anyway. But I need to figure out how wide does that need to be. Because these measure 38mm square, I need to deduct two lots of 38mm from the overall 60cm piece. So that should work out at roughly 524mm, but I'm going to call it 525 just to make it easier. So I've got the first part to the side frame laid out, and I'm going to be attaching the cross section to the bottom of the side frame first. I'm going to be using an off-cut piece just to give me a bit of a gap at the bottom, and it will be roughly 38mm from the bottom. Now I'm going to drill a pilot hole through, I'm going to add some exterior wood glue, and then I'll secure it in place with a screw. So I've got the two frames put together, and they should be exactly the same. Well, good enough for me anyway. Well, now I need a way to join them together to give me the total width of the log store. Now I'm going to be going for 120 centimetres again. It's a nice round figure, and it tends to be the standardised size. I need to be able to take this apart and get it in my car to take it to my mate's house. So I'm just going to be attaching them with screws. So I've gone ahead and cut the pieces already. Like I say, they measure 120 centimetres, and I'm going to secure them to the bottom first, just with the screw through each of the ends. And I can add one to the back at the top as well, again without any wood glue. Just a couple of screws, one at either end. The frame is really coming together now. As you can see, I've got the bottom supports in place and one at the back at the top, and it'll just stop it wobbling round on me. The sides are going to get some cladding, both of them. The back's going to be open because it's going to be against the wall. The front's going to be open for airflow and so you can actually get the logs in and out. There will be a roof on the top, but because I've got to get it in the car, I'm going to make it as a separate piece. The roof is just going to be a basic rectangle shape. The two long outer pieces that will actually be the front and back to the roof, those measure 125 centimetres long. The internal pieces, I've gone ahead and I've cut those to 70 centimetres long. I'm going to add some glue to each of the corners and secure it with a single screw at each of the corners as well. And with that done, it's onto the cladding. Well, the weather's changed on me a little bit, but we press on. Next job is to get the cladding put on. Now, my original plan for the cladding was to use feather edge boards. That's basically the kind of timber that you would see in fence panels, and it should have been the much cheaper option. But I'm guessing with the current supply difficulties and the price fluctuations, it actually worked out to be a lot more expensive than just using tongue and groove cladding. Now, unfortunately, this cladding isn't treated, so there is a bit of a letdown there. But I am going to be painting this later on with a protective garden paint, so it should work out well. At the end of the day, it's the cheaper choice right now, so that's what I've had to go with. To fix the cladding in place, you could just use a regular hammer and nails. If you've got one, you could use a nail gun. But because this is quite thin material, I'm worried about it actually splitting on me. So instead, I'm going to first drill pilot holes and I'm going to secure them in place with screws. Drilling a pilot hole and using screws will help prevent splitting. But it also means if there's any damage to these boards later on, they're much easier to remove and replace as and when needed. I can just start at the bottom, making sure it's nice and level with the frame, and then I can work my way up to the top. Cladding the roof is done in exactly the same way as cladding the sides. Start by adding your first board in place, drill a couple of pilot holes, add your screws, and then repeat the process, working your way down until the whole of the roof's covered. You can see that I've already tried the roof in place because I've gone ahead and I've cut a bit of a corner off the side cladding, and that should be the right angle, but I'm going to put it back in place, make sure it's sitting how I want it. I can then pop some more bits of cladding in, mark those off, cut them to size, and then we can get those attached as well. So as you can see, I've cut 3 more pieces to match that angle. Of course, I'm going to have to pop these in place before the roof goes on, but at least with it in place, I was able to get the mark that I needed in the pouring rain, where I got it done, and then I just cut that angle with a handsaw, nice and easy. Now obviously, this really isn't ideal. It's supported nice and strong to the back leg, but there isn't any support here. So all I'm gonna do is add a scrap block of this same 38mm square material, just glue and screw it in place there, and then I can secure through these panels into that block. That'll be plenty strong enough. And because I need to be able to take this apart, I'm literally just going to attach it to the frame with screws. It'll be screwed into the front leg and the back leg on both sides, and that'll be plenty strong enough. And now the last thing to do is to just add the boards to the bottom to form the shelf, and this is what the logs I'm going to sit on. So we do need some gaps in between to allow for airflow and to allow for any water that does make it through to drain away at the bottom. Now these boards that I'm using, they're really overkill for this job. Ideally, I was looking to just get some decking boards, but I just could not get any. As I say, the current issues with timber supplies and prices, it's a bit of a nightmare, but these boards will do. They're available, and they're just going to get secured in place to the 2 cross rails at the bottom with a couple of screws at either end. With the construction complete, the only thing left to do is to apply a few coats of protective garden paint. I could then get it taken apart, put in the car, taken to my mate's house and put back together. I really hope you like this one. If you've just brought a brand new log burner, or maybe you've been way ahead of the trend and you've had one for years, I hope this weekend you'll have a go at making your own log store. It's great for storing your wood outside, obviously, and it's going to work out a lot cheaper in the long run, because if you buy the wood wet, store it outside, dry it yourself, and then it's ready to burn inside. And trust me, it can definitely store a lot more logs than I'm showing here. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to On a Budget already, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the little bell icon next to it. That way you'll get a notification as soon as we upload a new video. Cheers for watching. Get back in the warm.